So has there been anyone that's really stepped up during August training camp that either maybe they were not on the depth chart coming out of spring or they were third on the depth chart? Is there somebody that's really been a mover and shaker in the slot back room?
You know what? I wouldn't say that there's one specific person. I would say that as a core, all of them have really stepped up. As you know, we're very, very young. We don't have any seniors in the room. And so the guys have had to really adapt and grow and mature quickly. And I've been really pleased with the fact that as a core, they've really stepped up and taken on the challenge and done a great job with it.
You're muted again, Wags.
I'm sorry. Without seniors in the room, who has emerged as leaders of the group?
Oh, man, you got guys like Mikael Haywood, you got Rojas, you got Vincent Terrell, Daniel Jones. Those guys have really stepped up big time to kind of just anchor the tradition that we have in our A-back room. You know, as we know, tradition never graduates. They hold a very high standard because of it. And those guys have done a great job holding that standard nice and high.
So you mentioned Mikael Haywood. Obviously, he was a dynamic threat as a kickoff returner last year. Did not get a whole lot of reps at slot back. What can we expect out of him? Do you think that he could be have a breakout season carrying the ball on the pitch?
Oh, absolutely. You know, Mikael is a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal football player. We expect him to be a huge piece of our offense. As you know, we kind of rotate those first A-backs quite a bit to keep him fresh and keep him rolling. But he's going to be very involved along with some of those other guys that I mentioned and others, you know, so we're very excited about Mikael. He's done a great job this camp. He's prepared himself during the off season. He's got the right mindset. He's just a kid that loves the game of football. He's passionate about football, loves his teammates and works really, really hard for them. Unselfish player that just gives everything that he has on the field.
Let's go to Joe Miller.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Really good, Joe. How are you doing now?
I'm doing well. You mentioned it a little bit there with the lack of reps that these guys have seen on the field. With that said, without that game film, how do you sort of break down the competition? Is it more about what you're seeing right now? Or are you trying to project forward? What are some of the things that you're looking at without, a ton of game tape to sort of break down where you stand?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question, Joe. To be honest with you, at this particular position, so much is mental. Understanding what you need to do, when you need to do it, and have the IQ as a football player to go execute the play is really critical. So fortunately, I'm able to see a lot of that during the contest of practice, in meetings, see where players are. And then, of course, we got guys that did get on the field last year. Daniel Jones played a decent amount. Mikael got on. Young guys like Amin Hassan, phenomenal football IQ. I think we talked about him in the spring. Vincent Terrell, Rojas played a lot of A-back for us last year. So we have a core that's tasted the field or played a decent amount. But outside of that, really just the evaluation continues during the practice field, meetings, et cetera, and just basic football conversations where you can pick up a lot of data to see where an individual is.
One of the things, obviously, because the A-backs have to do so many different things, the running game, the pass game, blocking, and everything that goes into it. What are the qualities that you guys are looking at right now? Like, what are the qualities that you're looking for to say that we need to have this guy out here, for 60% of the snaps? What is the one thing, the top thing that you're looking for? Because you have to have such a variety of skills to play the position.
Yeah, there really is a large variety. I'd say the number one thing is grit. You got to be tough as nails to be an A-back, but you kind of hit it on the head. You have to have ball skills. You need to be able to catch the ball. You need to have foot quickness. You need to be able to make people miss in space. You need to have the strength to hold a block on the perimeter, to hold a block on the interior. There's so many unique skills that our players have, but to execute most of those skills that they need to have grit, and it's emotional, it's physical. That grit has to go in multiple areas so that they can actually stay in tune and execute at a high level on the football field on a physical standpoint as well.
You touched on a little bit earlier, but with, the rotation there, it seemed to me, and, I could be wrong, but just, I haven't looked at the numbers, but it seemed to me last year that Carlinos and Chance played a ton, and there wasn't maybe as much rotation as we've seen in the past. Do you expect sort of going into the first couple of weeks to see a lot more rotation from the A-backs?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you look back to last year, certain games were different. It all kind of depends on the weather, et cetera. But yeah, we anticipate playing a handful of A-backs, and we have great trust in the players on the field to do a variety of skills that you just touched on. They can all catch, they can all run, they all have speed, they all have make you miss about them. And so, yeah, we expect to play, a handful of them in game one and continue to evaluate into game two and so on. But at the end of the day, we really have great trust in the brotherhood as a football team and as the brotherhood of A-backs to go out unselfishly and work our tails off to do the best we can on each and every play, whether I get one play, 30 plays, whatever it might be, simply to go out and execute at a high level. So the good news is the guys feel good about that, and they're the right kids in the room, man. I look up to them every day, and just these young men are just the most incredible young men that you can think of. I'm honored to be around them each and every day. Really humbled to be in the same room with them because of what they've chosen to do and because of who they are and the challenges they go through. And that all just kind of builds into the character of who and what an A-back is.
Thanks, Coach.
Oh, you bet. Appreciate it, Joe.
Phil Bergman.
Coach, we're talking later today with Vincent Terrell, sorry about that. Admiral Mac winner. What have you seen out of him this fall?
Oh, Vince he's a spark plug now. Vincent Terrell. This is a young man that is always smiling. Like his resting face is a smile. Like he's just got that glow about him. He's contagious that way. And it goes, physically on the football field as well as off the field, just who he is as a person, as a leader. People like to be around him. And obviously on the football field, he's a spark plug. He's a guy that, if I'm playing tag with him in a phone booth, I can't tag him. He's got a lot of wiggle, a lot of make you miss, a lot of top end speed, great hands, great vision. His knowledge of the football game is really, really good. Just everything about him has been phenomenal. So he's done a great job this camp. And honestly, I can't wait for 2.5 weeks to get on the field and play our first game and really watch him and the rest of the core get out there and play ball.
Have you ever had a position room without any seniors? And what's that like to not have any seniors in the room?
I don't recall having a room like this. It's been a little bit different because, especially here at the academy, the firsties, the seniors have so much leadership about them that everyone kind of looks up to them and kind of falls under suit. And now that we have a bunch of younger players, it's the leaders step up and lead. And I always tell my players, hey, you got to go out and be a leader. You need to go out and be an energy, like a guy that's like gives it to the rest of the players and lifts everybody up, whether you're a freshman or a senior. And now not having seniors, everybody realizes that they all need to step up and contribute to the core of the football team in leadership roles, not just in our room, but through the locker room, on the football field. Everywhere that they go, they need to step up and be leaders, which has been really kind of cool and refreshing and fun to watch.
You guys and the players always say A's make plays. What does that mantra mean to you?
Man, A's make plays. It means everything. It means making the perfect block on a 50-yard touchdown run. Okay. It means making that 50-yard touchdown run and making 3 guys miss. It means making a great catch when no one expects you to catch it because it's a high ball or it's well defended, whatever it might be. A's make plays. It's not just on the field, it's also off the field. Just be a man, be who you're supposed to be who you say you are from a character standpoint, and just kind of taking care of business everywhere that you go. And the beautiful thing about our room, the unselfish nature of our room, we celebrate more the plays that are made outside of the touchdown catches or touchdown runs or big third down conversions. We celebrate all the other stuff as much or more than those plays. So it's not just one thing. And I think that's one of the coolest pieces about our room.
Randy Cross.
Hey, Coach, appreciate you doing this.
Oh, you bet, Randy.
Quick question, or a couple actually. First, who has the best or softest hands in your group when it comes to being a receiver? Because I mean, I know that's something that comes natural. Guys can work at it, but it's one of those things you either got it or you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Mikael Haywood has really, really, really soft hands, and so does Kai Rojas. Daniel Jones made 2 phenomenal catches in practice 2 days ago. So those 3 guys kind of jump out at me right off the bat. Just really, really great hands.
Yeah, you guys, obviously you guys recruit different kids. It's the quality. You talked about how proud you are and whatnot to be in the room with them. And one of the things I always love pointing out on TV is the blocking of A-backs.
Yeah.
Because that's an unnatural thing for most running backs. They love to run with the ball, but not all of them love to stick their nose in there. Is that something as a group you talked about celebrating? That's got to be something you guys revel in.
We absolutely do. And I'm glad you talk about it on your broadcast, because it's a huge piece of who we are. And we take great pride in executing our blocks, whether it be on the perimeter, inside, or wherever it might be, maybe a block downfield. But yeah, you have these slot backs that are, average 185, 190 pounds, 5'10", 5'11", some of them a little shorter, some of them a little bit lighter, some of them maybe just a little bit heavier, but they're going up against some big dudes in our conference with the strength of schedule that we play. Are you kidding me? If you don't have grit, you're not going to go try and block that inside linebacker, or you're not going to try and stay on a safety that's coming downhill. Our kids, they just relish in the opportunity to go out and execute. And honestly, Randy, to do something for their brothers, to do something for their team. And that's what it's all about. If you have it in here, if your heart and your mind are set on doing something, you're going to get it done. And we have a very, very good room that lives kind of that way. They are all in for the brothers on their left and on their right. And that's kind of what I alluded to earlier. It's just an honor to be around them.
Who's kind of the leader in the clubhouse when it comes to that, just the blocking side of what you do? Is there anybody that to you sticks out?
Oh, man, they've all done a really nice job. Campbell Spades, a name I haven't mentioned yet, has done a really nice job blocking. But man, as you look back to this off season, they've all had key big time blocks. And even going back years, we watched a block 2 days ago in film of CJ Williams, an A-back from a couple of years ago, just lay the wood on a linebacker that no one would have expected. But I mean, we look at that stuff and it's like, man, I'm going to go do that now. I can absolutely do that. And so that's been pretty neat to see.
That's great. Thanks, Coach.
Oh, you bet, Randy. Thank you. Hope you're doing well.
Doing good. Thank you.
Let's go back to Wags.
So you mentioned Kai. He spent the spring playing quarterback. Did that hamper his development at slot?
Not at all. And the reason is we are so mental in this position. If anything, it helped him. It helped him have even a bigger, better understanding of what we're trying to accomplish offensively. And that only has helped him. Physically, we knew that he could do either or. And so I think it was a blessing for both us in our room, and also for Kai personally to go out and have that opportunity to learn that knowledge and then come back. And he's been phenomenal. He's so dialed in, and he's all about the team, about the guys, and really doing a great job.
He was a guy that was merged as a playmaker last season. It seemed like every time he touched the ball, whether it was a pass out of the backfield or a pitch, he was picking up a first down. Is there anything, what is with his knack for just getting yardage?
Yeah, that's a great question. He does. He just has a knack to kind of slither for extra yards. And he's not you look at the different styles of backs, and some of them are make you miss and you can't touch them, and others are just kind of weave and move. But Kai has great speed. He has top end speed. He's got great hands. He's a physical player, and I think it's just unique the ability that he has to make people miss out in space and make those plays. But yeah, he made them last year, and we expect him to make them again this year.
Daniel Jones, we heard a lot about his speed and the fact he's a burner, and I've seen him practice where he broke long runs, but last season his longest game was 12 yards. We didn't see it on the field. Are we going to?
You are. I can't wait to see it either. And last year, frankly, he was hampered with some injuries, and that's why we didn't see it last year. But he's fresh. He's been a great positive light in our room, and I can't wait to see those long runs because they are coming.
And last, before I pass it to Phil, on that note, I mean, Haywood obviously showed that he had breakaway ability as a kick returner, but it's different. It's a little more open field. I mean, has he shown that same ability when taking the pitch?
100%, 100%. I'll tell you what, we have some of the, I mean, I'm not going to say they're the best slots that we've ever had, but they're really, really, really talented slots. We have a really, really athletic room, and we really feel comfortable with any one of them getting the pitch. I know there's teams or years where it might be like, hey, we need to get this one person the pitch. We feel great with every single player getting the pitch. And definitely Mikael has shown that burst, just like DJ, just like Vincent, just like Kai that we mentioned, Hassan, Campbell, etc. I mean, they really have a tremendous upside.
Joe Miller.
Sorry, I just have one more for you, Coach. Last year in years past, Chance was such a vital weapon inside the red zone for you guys. Is there a guy that you look at in the room right now that you say we can do some special things with this guy, or is there a collection of guys?
It's a great question, and Chance made a ton of plays for us, as we know. Love having him around here still as a TAD, but it's more of a collection. We have great pieces throughout the offense. It's not just one player in our room or one player in the wideout room. We have a great collection overall. And that, I believe, will make us even more exciting to watch and more explosive on offense because of what we have and because of the love that our players have for each other, along with the determination to go out and do their jobs.
Phil Bergman.
Yeah, just following up on Joe's question, having Chance Warren as a TAD during fall camp and his relationship with the current players, what benefits have you seen from that?
It's really just an opportunity for them to see where they're headed after graduation, to see someone that's been here, done that, graduated. Now he's on the other side, and he's now employed by the government, making money, but yet still loving exactly what he's doing. He's very involved, talking to guys and seeing them around the locker room. And I think it's just refreshing more than anything to kind of see the bigger picture. We often have other A-backs come back, spend time with us. We had GG Green, he came back a couple of days ago. Of course, we have multiple players come back, but just in the recent, that's when it's come back. And just for our guys to sit down and see that, and then to talk to them and be like, okay, so you've been out for 10 years now. Tell me about your life. Well, now I'm going to law school, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what? Like, I'm just trying to get through plebe summer, but yet you can do this and have a family and have some kids, et cetera. And so it's been good. And chances he's stepping into that role, and other A-backs have done that and have also come back and spent time with our younger players.
Randy.
Yeah, Coach, this is these are the dog days when it comes to camp. You've just started hitting, so the pain, the soreness is still very much there. You haven't developed that kind of body callus or anything like that. At what point do you usually kind of start looking for that edginess to start kicking in for that opener?
Yeah, a really, really good question. For us at our position, with the amount of volume that we put on the legs of these guys, it's really about 2 weeks before the game where we start to really think about specifically what we're doing with our guys each and every day, so that they can go ahead and be as fresh as they can possibly be on game day. Coach Niemot does a phenomenal job with our strength staff. We talk about that quite a bit. Just, because it's a fine line. You got to push and build that callus and kind of get that toughness. And then you got to make sure the legs are ready to roll come game time, so that Saturdays we are at the elite speed that we can possibly be at.
That's great. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
Wags, we have time for one or two more.
Any plebes catching your eye?
Well, I'll just tell you, I'll give a shout out to all 5 of them real quick. All right, we got 5 phenomenal young men. Maurice Moore, he's done a phenomenal job. He was at Naps and super excited about him. All 5 of these guys are super positive, energetic, and they have great attitudes. Brandon Chapman is a little bit like Vincent Terrell when it comes to attitude and just loving the game of football and kind of that contagious personality. He's done a great job. He's got great skills about him. Eli Heinrich has really shown up as one of our young A-backs. I'm excited about him. Danny Enovich is a young man out of Ohio. Again, he's done really, really, really great things, and as a plebe trying to figure it out while you're actually finishing up plebe summer and rolling into the academic year, that's a lot of stuff that's put on their shoulders. And last but not least, Fabian France, he's a guy that ran a 10,600 meter back in the day in high school, so he's got some go factor about him, and the future's really, really bright. That's the one thing I can tell you right now, Wags. We're very, very young, but the future is very, very bright, and I can't wait to see them continue to compete. To this point, they've all done great things up to this point.
If Mikael remains atop the depth chart at slot, would you reduce his kickoff exposure, or do you feel like he's too dangerous of a weapon, too valuable a weapon there?
Yeah, I don't think we would reduce that at all. A guy like that, anytime you have a playmaker, the more times you can get the ball in their hands, the better. And I don't foresee that. If that came down halfway through the season, we'd sit down as a staff and talk about it. But I wouldn't suspect that happening at all.
How many slots do you envision traveling to East Carolina?
Man, as many as I can get on the bus. It's always a fight, a couple days before the game, we're all battling to get more guys on the bus, and that's going to be for Coach Niemot to decide. But we generally travel, 6 or 7, a bunch of them play special teams, etc. So we'll see how that works out when we get to that point.
Well, obviously you had a breakout spring. You won the Admiral Mack Award, and you started this preseason camp as the top of the depth chart. How hard is it to stay there?
It's hard. We got a whole lot of A-backs that can play. Everybody can run. It's going to really take me to know the playbook, just as well as anyone. But like the depth chart, it's not a part of my mind all the time. It's really about bettering myself as a player every day. And that's what our team needs, is us to be the best players we can. We rotate about 6 A-backs in every game, and they're going to play the best 6, and I got to work hard enough to be one of those 6.
What do you think you bring to the table as a slot back? Anything in particular that, maybe you're better at than some of the other fellas?
I wouldn't say much better. It's just, like specialized. I'm not the biggest guy, but I bring speed to the table. So, when they need someone around the edge, someone to, maybe run those deeper routes, they look to me. I've been trying to work on my blocking. I'm learning from guys like Kai and Mikael who are really good at blocking, trying to work on that. So that there's not really much of a difference between each of us, that there's more of we're all equalizing our skills.
Is there any one particular slot that you think is really, really exciting with the ball in his hands? Obviously, we saw Carlinos AC last year break a 90-yard run. He and Chance both had some long runs. Is there one guy that if you get the ball in his hands, he's capable to go all the way at any time?
Shoot, that's hard to choose, but definitely Mikael. Mikael's been definitely popping off this fall camp, and I'm excited to see what he can do in his sophomore season.
In terms of the group as a whole, I mean, can you talk about some of the other guys? Obviously, Kai proved himself last year. He may emerge as a playmaker at times. Mikael, we saw what he could do on kickoff returns, but we didn't see much of him at slot. And a lot of the other guys are relatively unproven. I mean, because Carlinas and Chance got so many reps last year, what can you say as a group? Navy fans are probably a little hesitant, wondering what exactly can this crop of slots do.
Man, we can do a lot. I'm excited to see what the group can do. We're young. That is definitely something we got. We're young, but we've learned a lot from those guys. Chance and Linos and Tiger all left a good legacy. They taught us how to be great A-backs, and coming into fall, we're getting our feet under us. We may not have a lot of game experience, but Coach Kins has us running plays after plays after plays, so that when it comes to game time, it's second nature to us. Like I say, we are young. There's a lot of guys out there trying to prove themselves, me included. But like you said before, Mikael, Kai, DJ, we're all coming to prove that we're here. Though we're young, we got something to prove. We're coming with a chip on our shoulder, and we're trying to bring Navy football back to its glory days.
So obviously winning the Admiral Mack Award is nice, and that means you had a good spring, and then you can have a nice preseason too. But it really, what you do in games, are you at all nervous, or are you anxious or excited because you didn't get game reps last year, if I'm correct? Right. It's going to be new for you, varsity experience.
Right. Yeah, of course, winning Ivan Rack is cool, but again, it's game time, like you said. Yeah, of course I'm nervous, preseason jitters, ready to get out there and, actually get to play some live football. But, it all comes down to preparation, and that's what we're doing right now. We got prepared so that those nervous jitters don't shake your game. You're playing at full speed at a high level. And so, when I do get those first couple reps, I might be a little nervous, but got to shake that off quick because, that's not how we're taught to play. Play full speed, not looking back.
So it's been settled around here for a long time, ever since Coach Paul Johnson brought the option back to Navy. A's make plays. What does that mean to you? What have guys like Chance and Carlinos and Tiger tried to explain? I mean, it's a nice slogan, but if you don't the heart, it's not what it's supposed to be a motive.
You're cutting
right.
out.
So,
Wags, you were cutting out a little bit.
So it's that slogan's designed to be a motivating factor, but what does it mean to you?
So A's make plays. It's a lifestyle. It ingrained into you, just how you come here. The first thing you say is beat Army. As A's, we gotta make plays for the team to be good, for the team to be successful. That isn't just me on offense. Mikael's making plays on special teams. Wherever they need us, that's what an A is. A's make plays is look. If you need someone to make a play, you need someone to go make a tackle, you need someone to make a block, you're going to put an A back there. That's what A's make plays means to me.
So we were just talking to Coach DuPaix, and he was mentioning about the enthusiasm you have for football. Where does it come from? I mean, is that just something? I mean, you just love being out there? It's not everybody that has that enthusiasm that bubbles over.
Man, it's the love for the game, love for the people I play with. I mean, I thank God that I'm even got this opportunity. I'm 5'7", 167 soaking wet, not too many people my size get an opportunity to play here. And I'm surrounded by, 13 guys that have become my best friends, 180 guys that have become my brothers. And, it's a love just being around them, going out there. Those practices aren't easy, but, doing it with your best friends is something you grow to love. And that's where my enthusiasm comes from, man. Because like, shoot, I'm already a junior. I remember my first practice being wide-eyed like a deer in headlights. So I mean, like just taking every day and saying like, man, like this is what I love to do. And I mean, being coached by Dupe is something special. Like I wanted to go somewhere I could grow mentally, spiritually, and physically. And Dupe is someone that's encouraged us to grow as men. And like you learn to love that about him, and like it's built into us. Like love each other, love our families. We're growing as men, and that's something that it's like my enthusiasm. I just love being here.
So obviously, Coach DuPaix just said that to get on the bus to go travel to East Carolina, you got to play special teams. Amin and Mikael are kickoff returners. Where do you fit in on the special teams scope?
Shoot, I'm trying to get on every single one, but right now, punt return. I'm not the starting returner, but I'm going to go block the kick, backup kickoff returner. Shoot, want to be on kickoff, but gotta know my role. But yeah, you just getting wherever I can help the team out.
The Coach DuPaix was mentioning no seniors. I mean, that you saw last year that Carlinos and Chance and Tiger were the senior leaders of the group. Now there's no seniors. Is there a leadership void there?
I don't think so, because like I said, Chance, Linos, Tiger, they taught us well. I mean, it was a learning curve, but they taught us well. And I feel like me, Kai, DJ, as the juniors all stepped up and like, look, we got to lead from the front. And, like, of course, Kai being our position captain, he's taking charge and we'll follow him to battle. But how we look at it is, yes, we're young, but we're all coming back next year. I mean, we're still thinking about this year, and we're going to be good. We're going to be dominant. But for the next 2 years, the A-backs are going to be something people are going to have to fear.
So is there somebody that maybe hasn't done much other than Vincent Terrell, who hasn't done much on the field, who's really going to surprise Navy fans as far as the slot back position this season?
Shoot. I definitely say Daniel Jones is making a return. He's healthy. He's ready to rock. Had some injuries last year, but they better watch out for him.
All right. Hey, great. Thanks, Vincent. Appreciate your time.
I got a couple. Vincent, you went to Punahou High School, which is a very prestigious high school in Hawaii. President Obama went there. How did Punahou help you both academically and on the football field to succeed here at Navy?
So academically, man, this place is challenging, and it taught us to grow up really fast academically. It was kind of like a college schedule like I have now. So it taught me on my breaks, like, hey, maybe knock out some homework instead of going to sleep. Hey, go get help from your teachers. Go study a little extra so that when you get home from practice, you don't have 2 hours of homework to do. I mean, athletically, it was like a college, basically. I was getting coached by some of the best coaches in Hawaii, Coach Ane. And we had some great facilities, taught me how to work on and off the field. Like what you do in the dark is going to show on the field. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, of course there's a learning curve when you're coming to college, but I felt like I had a good foundation for what I needed to do to be successful here.
Hawaii is a very underrated state for high school football per capita.
Yes.
It produces as many college football players as anybody. In the locker room, there's a million guys from Florida, a million guys from Texas. Do you like to speak up and tell those guys how good Hawaii high school football is? I can see it in your fist right now. You're ready to talk about that.
Of course, man. It's 808 versus everybody. But yeah, we like to have a little arguments about whose state. And of course, they don't respect Hawaii as much as they should, But me and Trent always got to be like, look, man, we here too. I just love looking around college football and seeing like guys I grew up with, playing with, my former teammates having success, like Maris. We're going to get to play Maris this year, starting linebacker for Notre Dame. Played against Jordan growing up. Dylan played against him, Dylan Gabriel. So I mean, it's just as much as we are competitors, it's good. It's always good to see like people have success.
One last thing, your father was a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. How growing up in that military lifestyle, did that make choosing a service academy easier? And then did Air Force recruit you also? And what was that decision like to choose Navy over Air Force?
So I mean, they were here and there, but I wasn't that big of a recruitment for Air Force. Choosing the service academy is never easy. Of course, growing up as a football player, you think, oh, college is going to be a 4-year party. No one sees what happens behind the lights. They only see Saturday. So, I mean, coming here, you're going into, a tough 4 years. But, I mean, I respect anyone who decides to do it. And I think it speaks volume to that, like, we have 180 guys on this team, 180 guys that played football in high school, probably could have gone somewhere else that could have been easier, less academically strenuous. They came here and was like, look, I want to better myself, obviously spiritually, mentally, and physically. Like my dad was always telling me, like, anything worth it is not going to be easy. So, I mean, coming here, it was like, I'm living out my childhood dream, playing Division I football on the highest level. Getting a great education, surrounded by great men, becoming a man myself, learning to grow up, and, just place brings so much to the table that I don't know where else I could have chosen.
How much did that resonate you with? I know a lot of coaches say it's not a 4-year decision, it's a 40-year decision.
Right. So yeah, my dad's about 20 some years in, and I mean, we talk about it. We joke like, oh, like Willie Collins, he's gonna be a next admiral, and he's like, no, I'm doing my 5. So I mean, I remember talking to our over at Captain Jefferson, and he was like, yeah, I said I was gonna get out. Now he's 06. So I mean, like, you never know what's coming. But I remember when I first came in for plebe year, they were saying the people are the reason you stay, and that's so true, man. Like, you just keep meeting great people that push you to be better and better each day. That I can see how it's hard to leave. I couldn't imagine leaving, like, these guys that have become my brothers. Like, I couldn't.